What's up, guys? Welcome to my messy shop. This is my little corner in the shop where I do disc golf. So, um, this video is gonna be different. We're still gonna do disc golf, but this time it's Wesley does dies. We're gonna die a disc, and I'm gonna walk you guys through the process. Hopefully, when we're done, we'll have something very similar to that. So I've got everything we need right here in front of me. I mean, literally everything except for like a water hose. I don't like rinsing it in the house, so if you want to rinse it in your sink, that's fine. I have raw wood butcher block countertop, so I don't want any speckles of dye splashing anywhere in my kitchen. So today we are going to try grip line plastic by Latitude 64. This is a compass. Y'all all know this is one of my favorite mid-ranges that I've ever thrown. It just does what you want it to do, and you can rely on it in a little bit of wind. It's not the most overstable mid, but it's a really good mid-range. So you need a disc, you need a tray, you need something to put the dye on the disc with. I prefer to use these makeup applicator Q-tips. They're a little different than they're a little bit different than normal Q-tips. They are much sharper and they're not wound as loose. They're wound much tighter, so they drop a lot more or a lot less dye on the disc at once. They don't hold as much dye and all the loose strands of cotton. You're gonna need some dye. My favorite, my dye of choice, I dye poly. Most of their dyes are spot on, fantastic dyes. Their green is a little wonky on this style dye sometimes, and that's about it. The yellow is not very strong. You're gonna need shaving cream, which is the vehicle for the dye, I guess you would call it. And you need a ruler or like an icing spreader thingy. I don't know what it's called, but the real long one. I use a ruler because I had a ruler and it's metal. It's not gonna dissolve, you know what I mean? And you need some sweet tea because we are in Arkansas, people. I would recommend putting a trash can right next to you anytime you're doing dyes, just so you can dispose of Q-tips and quickly, like when this has, you'll see this will get shaving cream all over it. I'll just be able to wipe it across the edge of this trash can. That's all we need. Sweet tunes, but I'm not going to play any music, you know, for copyright reasons. Maybe I'll throw in something in the background while we're doing this. First thing we're going to do is set this aside. Goes there for now. We're going to build our mound, and to do that, you want to shake up the shaving cream and just lay it on the bed. So the next thing we're going to do is kind of mash on it a little bit, try to pop any air bubbles that we can. There's going to be air bubbles, but I just kind of pop it as I'm spinning it. Just kind of, this is part of the process, spinning it. What I like to do is get really close to the tray, keep it against my belly, clean my ear out, and I put this at an angle. It's probably at about a 45-degree angle to looking down the surface of the mound in the direction I'm going. And I just use my hand to spin it and use my body to keep it from moving. I lock my arm against my body so that this angle doesn't change. And I mean, it may change, but you just try your best not to let it. And you just spin it, just smooth it out. I'm gonna get that, put it on the top. Yeah, this is a little messy process. I probably didn't have to touch it, but I'm not afraid of shaving cream. It doesn't have dye on it yet. You see the line in the shaving cream where my corner was? I'm just going to set it back in that corner. Put my arm back and get going. I'm going to lean down just a little bit with my hand just to cut in, because the top is kind of round. It's like a plateau. It's not coming to a peak. That's closer to what we want. I'm going to smooth that out a little bit. So this is what I was talking about. I can wipe this along the edge of that. And I'm going to scoop a little up, kind of. And I'm going to match my angle. This time I'm going to go this way. That's great. That is a perfect mound in my humble opinion. Set this aside. You don't need it anymore. I guess I should have mentioned this as an ingredient to the project, just having a mat, an absorptive, like a dish drying mat. I do all my work on a dish drying mat, no matter what type of dye I'm doing. It's sitting on this just to try to catch any small mistakes. Like, obviously I could make a big mistake and it would spill all over the place, but all right, that's it. We got our mound made. All right, so more sweet tea. I should have brought a coaster out here. You want to look at your disc and think to yourself, what colors are going to go great with white and purple? So I'm thinking purple. I'm thinking maybe a little blue, a little red. No, let's get crazy. Let's go purple and green. Because the green sometimes breaks down and you end up with like blue and yellow spots in it, like because it is it's a compound color. That's gonna look good. We're gonna go Hulk on this thing. That's perfect. So we got green and purple. Now how do we want it? So I'll probably do green across it this way to where it's going out under the compass, since that's like the widest dominant part of the stamp. I'll probably do like purple here, and then just green across the center and going down two sides, and try to line the stamp up with those green bursts and see what we get. So if we're gonna do green this way, yeah, we'll start with green. Now I always only get out the dye I'm gonna use, and I never take them both out of their package, because a lot of these dyes, not particularly these two, but a lot of these dyes look almost exactly the same in powdered form. So these dyes come in a little packet, and there's two packets in here if you get iDye Poly. One's an intensifier. If you're doing this, just toss it, throw it out, and then take the dye and put it in something like a Ziploc bag, something you can seal back up. And I always break it down real good before I use it. Don't want any clumps. Shouldn't be any clumps in my dyes. I don't let them get wet. They stay sealed up in there and then in another bag, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. All right, so we take our Q-tip, and I'm gonna fold this open just a little bit, just so the bag doesn't catch the dye. So we're gonna do top and then edges. And this dye is about, only this much of the dye is gonna touch the disc. Like all this doesn't really matter, because it's just gonna get pushed out and around before it touches the disc. So you don't, it's gonna exaggerate whatever you do. So you just do a small circle of green, and then we'll do a little bit of green on the edges. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's about as much dye as you want. That right there. It's not a ton. I'm just gonna just flick the back of the Q-tip like that, and it just bounces it right on it. It's gonna look good, guys. It's gonna look good. A little bit more on the right side, y'all's left. Alright, set that down. Remember, I don't ever have them both open at the same time, so I'm going to close this up. It's quite obvious that green and purple aren't the same, and it's obvious that most of these colors aren't the same, but you'd be surprised how close red is to purple and blue even. They looked very close in the package. Close that up, set it to the side. We don't have to hide it. Get the purple out. Fold it open. Get it in one corner of the bag. And go to town.
Perfect.
I'm expecting 2 new discs in the mail today. I cannot wait. And I'm going to let that sit on there for a minute just to start to break it down. Let that dye start to soak in. The shaving cream will kind of start to get it a little wet and it'll start to activate. And that's it. We're gonna let that sit for a second. I'm gonna go wash my hands off and I'm gonna scrub the disc down with just some wet paper towels, some Dawn, and some very hot water. Reason I say paper towels is a scrubby brush or a scrubbing sponge will tear the stamps up. Not all stamps are created equal, and I've had some gold stamps hold up and some gold stamps cut off, scratch off. So I don't scrub them anymore hard, but you do want to get any oils from your skin off the disc, or it'll create a blank spot on the disc. The dye will not adhere. It won't soak in through that oil, so you'll be looking real funny with thumbprints all over your disc. Also, if I were to just grab this disc right now, it would put fingerprints on it. Not immediately, but they would start to appear. It's the craziest thing. So I'm gonna grab this disc from the bottom, put it on the back of my hand. I'm gonna go in the house, wash this off, wash my hands, and we'll put it on the mound. All right, we're all washed up. She's clean. I'm just gonna line up the stamp, and you just wanna try to get that nipple right on top. and just let the disc sink into the shaving cream. I think we misaligned the stamp. I don't think we got it just right like I wanted, but it'll be all right. And this is gonna sink on its own. Not gonna help it too much. I just want it to be stable. So once it's kind of where it's level, it's not gonna teeter like that. I'm gonna leave that alone. Late tonight, I'll get up, I'll come out here and we'll pull it. You've got to pull it before. If it happens before, we'll just pull it. But this front of this disc, once it gets to the bottom, if it ever starts to push the shaving cream out from in between it and the plate, it's gonna mess up the die. So you really want to pull it once it bottoms out. Like, don't give it any more time. So I'll keep an eye on this. When it's ready, we'll pull it. You kind of want to let it sit for a while anyway, because green takes a little bit to absorb. That's why it usually comes out mostly blue, because yellow is a very weak color. So we're gonna leave this alone and see what we get here in a few hours. Mail call. The mail just came. I got a couple of discs coming. This one's from Heiser Farm. What we got here? Ooh, that thing looks even better in person. It's the Axiom Panic. Let's see if you guys can see that. Really good. Hope you can. So that's what we're going to be throwing for our recoil shots. It looks stable. This looks like it's going to be a great addition to the bag. The Defy is what I'm using now, and it just seems a little bit slow. Doesn't quite get the distance. I know the recoil was slow. Hey, Heiser, come here. Look, I got a Frisbee. Come here. Look. Okay, is it all right? And the recoil's like slower than the Gladiator and the Defender, but it seemed to do the same thing for me. I could flip it up, get a long ride out of it. Wow. Play It Again Sports knows what's up. They packaged the crap out of it. This is a used one from Play It Again Sports, because like I am trying discs. Good job, Play It Again Sports. Cardboard backing, bubble mailer, wrapped in paper. So, wow, I didn't realize that I got two that were almost the exact same. They're not the exact same, but very similar. This one is very used, so I'll be able to see it right off the bat how this disc is going to fly broken in. This one is a little flatter than that one too. Little bit heavier as well. It says 170, what? Oh, 173. So this one's 173, this one's 169. No ink either, that's awesome. It does have a pretty big dink on the rim though, I didn't know about that. The rim is kind of got a bite mark out of it. Oh well, we're just trying used discs, you know what I mean? That one's brand new actually. So we'll be back here in a little bit. All right guys, I forgot a step. So for the disc to absorb as much dye as possible, you gotta play the song. Told me. I'm just kidding, guys. Hey guys, so we're pretty much at the bottom of this tray. I don't think we're gonna get any more time with this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this over to the water hose, rinse it off, and we'll see what we got. You guys ready to see this thing? Alright guys, that turned out way better than I thought it would. I get a little nervous trying new plastic out. I've never dyed grip line plastic before. It took the dye very well. So if you like this video and you want to see more like disc dyeing videos, different things besides just playing rounds, let me know down in the comments, and by liking this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything in the future, and I look forward to the next time, guys.